The chicken breast was overcooked, and so was the conversation. We were all seated around the dining table, just my parents and me. My older sister Olivia was, as usual, not physically present, but her specter loomed over everything. My mother, Eleanor, placed her fork down, the sound a sharp clatter on the porcelain plate. She aimed her gaze at me, her eyes like chips of ice. "Amelia," she said, her voice clipped. "We just feel it's such a pity. Olivia is achieving so much. You're just, well, not." I kept my gaze fixed on my plate. "You're not half the woman your sister is." She delivered the line. The oxygen vanished from the room. My father, Richard, was intently studying his napkin as if it held the secrets of the universe. He remained silent. I finally looked up. My voice was low, but it held steady. "Then she can start paying your mortgage." My dad's head shot up, his face a ghastly white. My mother's jaw dropped, then snapped shut. For 2.5 years, I had held my tongue. I had been funding their home, their meals, their entire existence. And with those 7 words, I had just lit the fuse. The entire charade was about to go up in smoke. Before we get into the thick of it, do me a favor and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments, where are you tuning in from? That single sentence, "Then she can start paying your mortgage," was about so much more than the money. It was the culmination of my whole life. My name is Amelia Vance. I'm 29 years old, and until that dinner, I was practically invisible. I live in Denver, or at least I used to. I'm a risk analyst for an investment firm. I'm very good at my job. I excel at it, actually. I see the stories that numbers tell. I appreciate their clarity. Numbers are clean. They don't equivocate. 5 + 5 is always 10. It's never a maybe or an it depends on my mood. My family, on the other hand, is a labyrinth of maybes and it depends. My older sister is Olivia. She is the star everyone orbits. My parents, Richard and Eleanor, are her devoted planets. Olivia is a doctor. She is charismatic, assertive, and beautiful. She consumes all the energy in any space she occupies. When Olivia walks into a room, heads turn. When I walk into a room, it's usually to find more seating. My parents are bursting with pride for her. They say Olivia the doctor, as if the title itself is a holy relic. They don't say Amelia the analyst. They say Amelia works with spreadsheets. I've been the other daughter since childhood. I can still picture the day Olivia won a regional debate championship in high school. My dad left work early. My mom bought a special occasion outfit. They had her small plastic trophy professionally framed and placed it center stage on the fireplace mantel. About a month later, I won a statewide science fair. I received a commendation plaque and a $1,000 scholarship. I walked in the door, holding it. My mom was on the phone with Olivia, who was over at a friend's. "Oh, that's great, sweetie," she said to me, covering the mouthpiece with her palm. "That's very clever. Just set it on the kitchen island." She immediately returned to her call. "No, Liv, I'm here." So what did Jessica say after that? The plaque sat on that island for weeks. It was shuffled aside for the mail, then for groceries. Eventually, I found it stashed in a junk drawer, buried under a pile of old takeout menus. I am the reliable one. I am the quiet one. I am the one who remembers to send birthday cards. I am the one who takes my mother to her appointments when a migraine strikes. I am the one who troubleshoots their Wi-Fi when it inevitably crashes. Olivia is the one they boast about. I am the one they depend on. My accomplishments aren't cause for celebration. They are merely practical. When I graduated from university with top honors in economics, my parents took me out to a mid-range steakhouse. The entire dinner was spent discussing Olivia's MCAT study schedule. They were so concerned about her stress levels. "This is a monumental step for her," my dad said, sawing at his steak. Medical school is no small feat. It is, I agreed, my own diploma sitting beside my plate. I'm pretty proud of this, too. We know, Amelia. We know, my mom said, giving my hand a perfunctory pat. It's a solid career. That firm you're with, it's very sensible. We're just so glad you have a secure job. It's a weight off our minds, a weight off their minds, not a moment of triumph. When Olivia graduated from medical school 2 years after, it was a 4-day extravaganza. They flew to her city. They threw a catered party for over 60 guests. They rented out an event space. My dad delivered a speech, his eyes glistening with tears, about his brilliant, life-saving daughter. I was there, of course. I had coordinated the catering. I made sure the venue's bill was settled. This is the family structure. I am the load-bearing wall. I am the concrete slab that keeps the house from sinking. You don't admire the foundation. You don't applaud the concrete. You just assume it will always be there. You live your life on top of it. You decorate it with pictures, and all the pictures are of Olivia. I lived with this reality. I had come to accept it. It was simply the way things were. I was the quiet daughter, the good one, the one who didn't cause trouble. I got my job in Denver. I found a modest apartment. I paid my own way. I constructed a small, orderly life for myself. I thought it would be enough. I thought, if I am diligent and quiet and helpful, perhaps one day they will finally see me. Oh, they saw me. They saw me as a line of credit. That evening at the dinner table, when my mother declared, "You're not half the woman your sister is," it wasn't a new sentiment. It was just the first time she'd spoken the subtext aloud. And in a twisted way, she was right. I wasn't half the woman Olivia was. Olivia was the woman who received accolades. I was the woman who received the invoices. It all started 2.5 years ago. It started with a phone call. I was at my desk, burning the midnight oil. I was always working late. I was building my own financial future. I had a dream, a simple one. It was a photo I'd printed from a real estate listing and taped to the inside of my desk drawer. A small loft downtown with a massive industrial window. I had a dedicated savings account for it. I named it My Future. My cell phone rang. It was my mother. My mother never calls me at 9 p.m. on a weekday unless it's an emergency. My first thought was, Olivia. Something's happened to Olivia. Mom, I answered, my stomach tightening. What's wrong? Her voice was all wrong. It was thin, brittle. Amelia? Oh, Amelia. And then the dam broke, not just a few tears. This was a full-throated, gasping sob. It terrified me. Mom, what is it? Is it Olivia? Is she all right? No, Olivia's fine, she managed to get out between sobs. She's fine. It's your father. My blood ran cold. Is he sick? Is he in the hospital? No, it's his business. You know that big project with Henderson Corp? The major one? Yes, I said, my shoulders knotting up. He lost the bid. The company, they decided to go in-house. This afternoon, I waited. As a risk analyst, I understood the implications immediately. My dad was an independent consultant. That one project represented the bulk of his yearly income. Mom, I said, trying to be the anchor in her storm. It's all right. He'll land something else. He always does. No, you don't get it, she wailed. We were banking on it. We refinanced. To invest in the business, your father said. There's a massive payment due at the end of the month. A balloon payment. If we can't make it, Amelia, if we can't make it, we lose the house. The house I was raised in. The one with the mantelpiece groaning under the weight of Olivia's achievements. How much? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. It's just so much. It's $25,000. I squeezed my eyes shut. I pulled open my desk drawer and stared at the picture of the loft. Then I logged into my online banking. My future account held $27,800, my entire life savings. Years of working overtime, of brown bagging my lunches, of turning down trips with friends. "Amelia, please," she whispered, her voice stripped bare with desperation. "I know you're so responsible with your money. I know you've been saving. We would never ask. But it's the house." "Mom," I began. "Just this once, sweetheart. Just to see us through this patch. Your father is already hunting for new work. He'll pay you back. I promise you. We will pay you back. Please. I can't possibly ask Olivia. She's under so much pressure at the hospital. This would crush her. You're the strong one, Amelia. You've always been the strong one, the one who pays." I looked at the balance. $27,800. I looked at the picture of my loft, and I heard my mother weeping about becoming homeless. "What do you do? What can you say?" "Okay, Mom," I said. My voice was numb. "Okay, I'll wire it. Send me the account details." "Oh, Amelia, thank you. Thank you, my sweet girl." She was crying again, but now with relief. "You've saved us. You've saved our family. We will pay you back. I swear it." I clicked the transfer button. I watched the balance in my future account plummet to $2,800. A wave of nausea washed over me. "It's done," I said. "We love you so much," she said. I ended the call. I sat there in the silence of my darkened office, and I wept. I wept for my loft. I wept for my savings. And I think, even in that moment, I knew I would never see a dime of that money again. Just this once was a lie, a well-intentioned lie, perhaps, but a lie nonetheless. The following month, it wasn't a balloon payment. It was the mortgage. "Amelia, honey," it was my dad on the phone this time. "I'm still a bit behind. I've got a new client, but the first invoice won't clear for another 60 days. Can you just handle the mortgage for this month?" Just one more time. I had $5,000 in my checking account. The mortgage was $2,500. "Okay, Dad, I sent it." The third month, the call came like clockwork, just this once. The fourth month, it was a text. "Need the payment, sweetie. Love you." By the fifth month, I set up a recurring automatic transfer. It was less painful than the phone calls. It was less painful than hearing the manufactured panic, the feigned disappointment, the empty promises. I scheduled it for $2,500. On the 25th of every month, I just paid their mortgage. For 2.5 years, 30 months, $2,500 a month. I'm a numbers person after all. I did the math. On top of the initial $25,000, that was another $75,000. No, wait. $2,500 for 30 months is $75,000. My initial payment was $25,000. The total was $100,000. $100,000 had simply evaporated from my life. It went from my salary, from my effort, from my late nights directly into their home. And over those 2.5 years, did my parents make any cutbacks? Did they downsize their cars? Did they cancel their country club membership? No. During that time, I saw my mother post a photo on social media. She and my dad at a high-end restaurant, clinking glasses of champagne. The caption, celebrating our incredible Olivia's new promotion. "She treats us so well." I was eating instant ramen that night. I had just paid their mortgage. During that time, my dad wrote about their desperately needed golf trip to Scottsdale. During that time, they flew to visit Olivia in Chicago 4 times. They never once came to Denver. I never uttered a word. I just paid. I just worked. I canceled my streaming services. I stopped buying lattes. I stopped accepting invitations from the few friends I had left. My loft dream was a distant memory. The picture was long gone. I was just treading water. That automatic payment was a chain, a cold, heavy anchor tying me to the ocean floor, while my family cruised on a yacht above. A yacht I was fueling, while they raised another toast to Olivia. My breaking point wasn't some dramatic explosion. It was quiet. It was the click of a mouse in an empty office building. It was a Wednesday. It was nearly midnight. I was at my desk in my Denver office. The building was a tomb. The only sounds were the low hum of the servers and the rhythmic tap of my own keyboard. I wasn't working on a company project. I was staring at my personal budget. I was trying to figure out if I could afford to get the timing belt on my car replaced. It was a $600 repair. I looked at my checking account balance. I looked at my upcoming paycheck. After my rent, my utilities, my student loans, and the automatic transfer to my parents, I would have approximately $200 left for the next 2 weeks. For gas, for groceries. I couldn't afford the repair. I would have to risk it for another 2 weeks. I just sat there staring at the numbers on the screen. A $600 repair. I am a senior analyst at a major firm. I earn a very good salary, and I could not afford to maintain my own car. A strange sort of coldness washed over me. It wasn't anger, not yet. It was a profound stillness. I opened a new spreadsheet. I am excellent with spreadsheets. In column A, I entered the date. I went back 30 months. In column B, I entered the amounts. $25,000, then $2,500, $2,500, $2,500. I dragged the formula down 30 times. Then I clicked the auto sum function. The number appeared in the cell, stark and unforgiving. $100,000. I stared at it. It wasn't just a number. It was my loft. It was years of vacations I never took. It was a new car. It was a life. It was a future I had handed over, one just this once at a time. I logged into my online banking. I scrolled through the history. Transfer to Richard Vance. Transfer to Richard Vance. Transfer to Richard Vance. They looked like scars on the screen. I leaned back in my office chair. The building was so silent. I thought of my mother's voice. "You're the strong one, Amelia." And I finally understood what strong really meant. Strong meant quiet. Strong meant you will absorb the pain and you will not make a sound. Strong meant you will light yourself on fire to keep us warm. I wasn't helping them. That's what became crystal clear in the silence of that office. I was not helping. I was enabling. I was a line item in their budget. I was a utility. I was the family ATM, and the machine was finally out of cash. I opened my email. My inbox was a sea of work-related messages, and there was one from my mother, sent that morning. Subject, hello. The email read, "Hi darling, just checking in, thinking of you. Hope work is going well. We are so busy here. Olivia is in town this weekend. We're taking her up to Aspen for a few days. Love you, Mom." They were going to Aspen with Olivia. The automatic payment for this month had cleared just yesterday. My money, my $2,500, was paying for their ski resort hotel, while I sat here in the dark, unable to afford a critical car repair. My hand moved toward the mouse. It felt like I was moving it through molasses. I navigated back to my bank's website. I clicked on the bill pay section. I clicked on Manage Recurring Payments, and there it was. Payee, Richard Vance. Amount, $2,500. Frequency, monthly. Next payment date, the 25th of next month. Next to it were 3 small, clickable options. Edit, skip payment, cancel. I stared at the word, cancel. My heart started to pound in my chest. I could hear the blood rushing in my ears. What would happen? They would call, they would yell, they would weep. My mother would call me selfish. My father would call me ungrateful. They would accuse me of tearing the family apart. The words selfish and ungrateful were the two cudgels they had used to keep me in line my entire life. They will be so furious. I thought about my timing belt. I thought about the champagne toast for Olivia. I thought about the $100,000. My finger nudged the mouse. The small cursor hovered over the word cancel. I am a good analyst, I thought, and this has been a terrible investment. The return on investment is negative. I clicked. A confirmation box popped up, filling the screen. Are you sure you want to cancel this recurring payment? My hand was steady now. My voice was quiet in the empty room. Yes, I said. I clicked the button. The screen refreshed. The payment was gone. I leaned back. I didn't cry. I didn't feel relief. I just felt empty. But it was a different kind of empty. Not the emptiness of being drained. It was the emptiness of a clean slate. The emptiness of a room that is finally, utterly silent. I shut down my computer. I grabbed my purse. I walked out of my office. I got into my car. I drove home, very cautiously, the engine making a worrying noise at every stoplight. And for the first time in 2.5 years, I knew I was going to be okay. The day after the click was the most deafening silence I had ever known. I woke up, and for a fleeting moment I thought it had been a dream. I grabbed my laptop from the bedside table. I logged into my bank. The automatic payment was indeed gone. It was real. I spent the entire day on edge, waiting for my phone to detonate. I jumped at every email notification. I was a raw nerve, but the 25th was still a month away. My act of treason was still a secret. They didn't know. Not yet. The very first thing I did, I took my car to the dealership. I need a new timing belt, I said. I paid for it with my credit card, no hesitation. It felt like a small act of defiance. The first of the month arrived. I waited. No phone call. Of course not. They had last month's money to fund their Aspen getaway. My next paycheck landed in my account. I just stared at the number, the full amount. It was all mine. I had been living like a wraith for years. I had forgotten the feeling of having anything for myself. It dawned on me that I had no life outside of work. My job was my life. My parents' debt was my life. I had no hobbies. My friends had long since stopped calling. I had turned them down too many times. I'm busy. I have to work. I can't afford it. I had an extra $2,500. What did I want to do with it? I honestly didn't know. So I started small. There was a pottery studio a few blocks from my apartment. A sign in the window advertised a weekend workshop. I had mentioned once that I wanted to try it. My mother had scoffed. Oh, Amelia, what a waste of money. Just buy a vase. I walked in. I paid the $150 fee. I signed up. That Saturday I went. I was a bundle of nerves. I was the only person there by myself. Everyone else was in pairs, couples or friends. But then the instructor gave me a lump of cold, wet clay. He showed me how to center it on the wheel. I put my hands on the clay. It was tangible. It was real. I pressed my foot on the pedal, and the wheel started to spin. I focused on that spinning lump, channeling all the frustration, all the years of being silenced, into that formless clay. I made a bowl. It was lopsided and thick, but I made it. We glazed them. We fired them. A week later, I picked it up. It was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. I wasn't just paying for things anymore. I was creating something. I started doing more of that. I started creating a life. I started running along the South Platte River Trail. At first, I could barely gasp my way through a single mile. My lungs burned, but it was my pain, a pain I had chosen. a pain that was making me stronger, not the dull, sickening ache of resentment. This was a clean pain. I ran every morning. 1 mile turned into 2. 2 became 3. I watched Denver wake up as the sun rose. I bought a new pair of expensive running shoes. I didn't ask for permission. I just bought them. And the sleep. I had been an insomniac for as long as I could remember. I'd lie awake from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m., my mind a frantic race of spreadsheets, mortgages, my mother's pleading voice, my father's silence, Olivia's laughter. Now, I was physically exhausted. I would run, get home, shower, and collapse into bed, and I would sleep, deep, dreamless sleep, all through the night. 2 months passed this way. I was running, I was making lopsided pottery, I was borrowing books from the library, I was slowly, quietly rebuilding a life from the ground up. Then the 25th of the second month came. My phone rang. My mother. I stared at it, my heart pounding, and let it go to voicemail. This is it. She called again immediately. I let it go again. A text message popped up. Amelia, call me, urgent. Then another. Did you change your bank account? The mortgage payment didn't clear. My hands were trembling. I had practiced this moment in my head. I had a script. I texted back. Hi, Mom. No, my bank account is the same. I canceled the payment. I put my phone down on the kitchen counter, screen side down. I walked away. I went to the sink and started to do the dishes, my hands shaking so badly I nearly dropped a glass. The phone started buzzing incessantly against the granite. Bzz, bzz, bzz. It was my dad. I ignored it. Then a text from him. You need to turn that payment back on immediately. We are relying on you. This is not a joke, Amelia. Your mother is distraught. Then my mom again. After everything we've done for you, this is the most selfish thing you have ever done. Olivia would never treat us this way. I stood at the sink, water running over my hands. I read the words, selfish, ungrateful, Olivia, the same old weapons. But they were striking a different person now. I turned off the faucet. I dried my hands. I picked up the phone. I created a group message with both of them. I have paid $100,000 towards your expenses over the last 2.5 years. I am no longer in a financial position to continue doing so. I need to manage my own finances now. I am sorry. I powered my phone off completely. I sat in the resulting silence. It was terrifying. I felt like a horrible daughter, a monster. But underneath that, I felt a sliver of lightness. The next day, I turned my phone back on. There were 17 missed calls and 31 text messages. They were a toxic cocktail of fury, guilt, and cold parental disappointment. I deleted them all without reading past the first few. I didn't reply. I went to work. And that's when the real change began. I was at my desk, and my LinkedIn profile pinged. A message from a recruiter. Ms. Vance, I'm with a quantitative trading firm in Chicago. I've been following your career progression. Your work in risk modeling is very impressive. We had a phone screen. A week later, I had a video interview with the team. A week after that, they flew me to Chicago. They offered me the job. It was a senior leadership position. It came with a 40% salary increase. It came with stock options. It came with a new city. I stood in my hotel room, looking out over Lake Michigan. Chicago, a new place, a place where nobody knew me as the quiet one, a place where no one knew me as Olivia's little sister. I accepted the job. I returned to Denver. I put in my notice at work. I gave my landlord notice. I started packing my belongings. There wasn't much. My new running shoes, my lopsided pottery, a lot of books. I didn't tell my parents. They had resorted to sending me curt, one-line emails. We hope you're happy with yourself. You have deeply hurt your father. I didn't care. I packed up my small car. I drove east on I-80. I watched the Welcome to Illinois sign go by. I wasn't running away from my family. I was driving toward myself. My new life in Chicago was quiet. It was orderly. It was entirely my own. My apartment was small, but it was on the 15th floor with a huge window overlooking the lake. I would wake up in the morning and watch the sailboats like tiny white specks on a vast blue canvas. I had my favorite lopsided bowl on the counter. My running shoes were by the door. Work was challenging. It was a different world. At my old job, I was just Amelia, the dependable one who always picked up the slack. Here, I was Ms. Vance. I was a team lead. I had a small team of junior analysts reporting to me. They came to me with questions. I had the answers. I led meetings. I presented my findings to the partners. I would stand at the head of a glass-walled conference room, my data projected on a massive screen, and I would speak. And people listened. I had been in Chicago for 6 months. It was summer. The city was vibrant and full of life. The calls from my parents had dwindled to nothing. After I'd left my phone off for a solid week, they had seemingly given up. I received a few more terse emails. We are profoundly disappointed. I hope you are taking time to think about the damage you've caused this family. I had replied just once. I am thinking about everything I've done for this family, and I am finished doing it. They didn't write back. I had a new bank account. I had a new phone number. I was building a new fortress around my new life. It was a fortress I had paid for, and it was impregnable. I was almost happy. I felt light. I was no longer shouldering a $100,000 secret. I was just me. Then the text message arrived. It was a Saturday morning. I had just finished a 6-mile run along the lakefront. I was sweaty, exhausted, and deeply satisfied. I was in my kitchen, making a smoothie, the sun streaming through my big window. My phone buzzed. It was a number I didn't recognize. The message contained a picture and a few lines of text. "Hi, Amelia. It's Barbara from your old cul-de-sac. Hope you're doing great. I saw this on your parents' house today. It's just so wonderful. You must all be so proud of Olivia." I looked at the text. Barbara, our old neighbor, a sweet woman who sent a card every Christmas. Then I looked at the attached photo. I had to zoom in to be sure. It was my parents' house, the house I grew up in, the house I had saved. And there, strung across the entire front porch, was a massive tacky vinyl banner, the kind you order for a graduation party. It had huge, garish red letters. "Congratulations, Dr. Olivia Vance, for saving the family home." I read the words once, then I read them again. Saving the family home. My blender was still whirring on the counter. I didn't hear it. I couldn't hear anything except a loud ringing in my ears. My heart didn't break, it just stopped. It seized in my chest. I sank to the floor. Right there in my sunlit kitchen. I was still in my running clothes. "Congratulations, Olivia." Olivia, my sister, the one who was under too much stress at the hospital to be bothered with a family crisis. The one who had no idea, or did she? I looked at the picture again. This wasn't just forgetting me. This was something else entirely. This was a rewriting of history. This was a lie, printed in bright red ink for the entire world to see. They had taken my sacrifice, my $100,000, my 2.5 years of instant ramen and a car I was afraid to drive. And they had handed it to her. They had fashioned it into another trophy for her mantle. I thought about the night I clicked cancel. I thought I had felt pain then. That was nothing. That was a scratch. This was a calculated amputation. This was my own mother and father, standing on their front porch, smiling as they announced to the world, "Our daughter Amelia is a non-entity. Our daughter Amelia doesn't count. Olivia is our everything." I finally understood. It was never about the money. It was about the narrative. Our quiet, responsible daughter bailed us out of our financial failure was not a story they could tell. It was a story of their shame. But our brilliant, successful doctor daughter Olivia swooped in and saved us. Now that was a good story. That was a story they could be proud of. It fit their carefully constructed world. It made them look like the proud parents of a hero. So they just changed the facts. They took my name off the ledger and wrote in hers. I started to feel physically ill. I got up and switched off the blender. My smoothie was just a tepid green sludge. I poured it down the sink. I looked at my phone. Barbara's text. "You must be so proud." I considered what to write back. "That's a lie. I paid for that house. Your neighbors are frauds. I am the one who saved it." But I wrote nothing. What good would it do? Barbara would never believe me. My parents had their story. It was hanging on a banner. I sat down on my sofa. I stared out at the lake. But I wasn't in Chicago anymore. I was back in that kitchen. I was back in that dark office. I was back in my car with the failing timing belt. I was the family ghost, the one who did all the work, and Olivia was the one who wore the crown. I sat there for hours. The sun tracked across my apartment floor. I should have been crying. I should have been screaming. But I just felt cold. I felt like an analyst who had just discovered a fatal flaw in a system, a single line of data that proved the entire enterprise was fraudulent. They hadn't just forgotten me. They had intentionally and methodically erased me. They thought I was gone. They thought I was still in Denver, quiet, beaten. They thought I would never find out. I looked at the picture one last time. The banner, the house, the lie. I saved the image to my phone. I saved Barbara's text. This wasn't a betrayal. This was evidence. For 2 days, I went through the motions. I went to work. I led my meetings. I analyzed my spreadsheets. I wished my team a good morning. But at home, I was a machine. The hot, sick feeling from the photograph had cooled and solidified. It had morphed from pain into something hard, cold, and sharp. It had turned into a purpose. I was a risk analyst. They had presented me with a problem. I was going to solve it. On my laptop, I had an old encrypted folder. I had backed it up to 3 different cloud services. It was titled Family Finances. I had created it 2.5 years ago when I sent that first $25,000. I had told myself it was to keep a record, to ensure they paid me back. But now I knew the real reason. I had created it because some deep, analytical part of my brain knew this day might come. Some part of me knew I would eventually need proof that I was real. I opened the folder. I opened my archived bank records. I opened my old text message logs. I opened my email history. I opened my mother's social media page. I was no longer a daughter. I was an auditor, and I was conducting a forensic audit of the last 2.5 years of my life. I worked through the night. Sleep was an irrelevant luxury. First, the bank records. I downloaded every single one, PDF after PDF. I didn't just read them. I exported the data into a new, pristine spreadsheet. Column A, date. Column B, payee, Richard Vance. Column C, amount, $25,000, $2,500, $2,500, $2,500, all the way down. At the bottom, I hit sum, $100,000. I stared at the number. It was my number. It was my truth. Next, the text messages. This was more difficult. I had to scroll back and back and back. I had to read the lies again. August 10th, 2022. Mom, just this once, sweetie. You saved us. October 24th, 2022. Dad, need the payment, honey. Love you. December 5th, 2022. Mom. I know it's a lot, but with Christmas coming, we need a bit extra for the property taxes. That was another $2,000. I'd almost forgotten that one. I screenshotted every single request. I saved each one. 01_request_mom.jpg. 02_request_dad.jpg. Then I searched for Olivia's name. August 12th, 2022. Mom on social media 2 days after I sent the $25,000, taking our amazing Olivia out for a celebration dinner. She just won her first big malpractice case. So proud. I took a screenshot. March 17th, 2023. Dad, flying to Chicago to see Olivia. This city is pricey, but she's worth every penny. I took a screenshot. July 25th, 2023. Mom, on the exact same day, my $2,500 transfer went through, soaking up the sun in Scottsdale. Your father and I desperately needed this getaway. Olivia insisted we go. I took a screenshot. I placed them all in a separate folder titled Concurrent Expenditures. A strange, cold calm had settled over me. The anger had burned away, leaving only focus. I was simply gathering data. The sun began to rise, filling my apartment with a pale gray light. I wasn't tired. I opened PowerPoint. I was very good at PowerPoint. I built decks for the firm's partners. I knew how to tell a compelling story with data. I selected the most basic professional template. Black text on a stark white background. No fancy animations. The truth requires no embellishment. I created a title slide. I typed a single title, The Ledger. Slide 2, Executive Summary. Total transferred, Amelia Vance to Richard Eleanor. Vance, $100,000. Time period, August 2022 to August 2024. Number of payments, 31. Stated purpose, to prevent foreclosure on the family home. Slide 3, the initial request. I embedded the screenshot of my mother's pleading text. If we miss it, we lose the house. I placed the screenshot of the $25,000 bank transfer confirmation beside it. Slide 4, the pattern of dependency. I created a simple bar graph. It showed my bank balance decreasing month after month and a corresponding inflow to their account. Slide 5, Narrative versus Reality, Part 1. I made 2 columns. On the left, titled The Narrative, I put the screenshot of the Scottsdale golf trip post. On the right, the funding, I put the screenshot of my $2,500 mortgage payment from that same day. Slide 6, Narrative versus Reality, Part 2. I repeated the format with the celebratory dinner for Olivia and the text from my dad asking for the payment that funded it. Slide 7, The Erasure. I put the photo Barbara had sent me, the banner. Congratulations, Dr. Olivia Vance. It took up the entire screen. Slide 8, The Complete Ledger. I embedded a screenshot of my final spreadsheet. The 31 payments, the total, $100,000, highlighted in red. I returned to the first slide, the ledger. I clicked Start Slideshow. I watched the entire presentation. Click, click, click. It was clean. It was cold. It was irrefutable. I had been silent for years. I used to think it was a sign of weakness, of me just being the good daughter. I was wrong. My silence wasn't weakness. It was observation. It was documentation. I saved the file, the ledger.pptx. I found a small silver USB drive in my work briefcase. I copied the file onto it. I safely ejected the drive. I held it in the palm of my hand. It was so small and light, but it weighed more than $100,000. It weighed more than a house. It was the weight of my life for the past 2.5 years. I put the USB drive in my purse. I closed my laptop. I went and took a long, hot shower. I got dressed for work. I had the proof. I didn't know when or how I would use it. I just knew that I had it. And for the first time, That knowledge made me feel powerful. A week later, I discovered they were in my city. They didn't tell me, of course. I got a text from my Aunt Carol, my dad's sister. "Amelia, so excited to see you tonight. Your dad mentioned the party starts at 7. It's so wonderful what you're all doing to celebrate Olivia. She's such a star." I stared at the message. A party in Chicago, my city, a party for Olivia, and they hadn't bothered to tell me. I felt that familiar cold knot in my stomach. But this time, it was different. It wasn't the cold of sadness. It was the cold of opportunity. They were on my home turf now. They were bringing their lie to my front door. I texted my aunt back. "What restaurant?" She sent me the name, an upscale place on the river, a private room. "See you there," I replied. I left work and went home. I stood in front of my closet. I had a choice. I could show up in my running gear, looking like a ghost, a victim, or I could show up as Ms. Vance. I chose my best work attire, a sharply tailored black blazer, a silk camisole, fitted trousers, the expensive shoes I'd bought with my first Chicago paycheck. I did my makeup with precision. I pulled my hair back into a severe, sleek bun. I did not look like a victim. I did not look like the good, quiet daughter. I looked like a senior analyst. I looked like someone you don't lie to. I picked up my purse. I felt the small, hard outline of the silver USB drive. It was still there. I took a taxi to the restaurant. I walked in. I was not on the guest list. I was a ghost crashing the party. The hostess approached me. "May I help you?" "I'm here for the Vance party," I said. She directed me toward the back, the Riverview room. I pushed the heavy wooden door open. The room was packed, maybe 50 people. Aunts, uncles, cousins, old family friends. They were all sipping wine and laughing. At the front of the room, there was a small lectern and a large projector screen. And standing next to it, absolutely beaming, was Olivia. My parents, Richard and Eleanor, stood on either side of her, clutching her hands. The room fell silent as I entered. It was a repeat of that dinner. Forks paused mid-air. Conversations evaporated. My mother saw me first. Her expression wasn't happiness. It was pure, unadulterated panic. "Amelia," she whispered, her voice a sharp hiss. "What are you doing here?" My father just looked ill. Olivia simply looked annoyed. "Amelia?" Way to make an entrance. "I wasn't invited," I said, my voice perfectly calm. It carried across the silent room. I didn't approach them. I found an empty spot along the back wall and stood there observing. My father walked to the lectern. He tapped the microphone. "Thank you all for coming," he began, his voice thick with staged emotion. "Thank you for joining us to honor our family's hero, our daughter, Olivia." He launched into the story, how his business had faced a difficult period, how things had looked grim. We thought we were going to lose our home," he said, and my mother began to cry, right on cue. But then, my dad boomed, "Our daughter, our Olivia." She refused to let that happen. She stepped in. She told us, "Don't you worry, I'll handle this." And she did. With her tireless work and her generous spirit, she saved us. She saved the family home. People in the audience were dabbing at their eyes. My Aunt Carol was openly weeping. "We love you, Olivia," my dad concluded. "You are our savior." The room erupted in applause. Olivia cried and hugged them both. I just stood at the back, my arms crossed. I didn't clap. "And now," my dad said, "a little tribute our friends helped put together." He dimmed the lights. The slideshow began. A tribute to Olivia. Photos of her as a toddler, photos of her in her debate uniform, her medical school graduation. It was all the pictures from the mantle, digitized. And then the final slide appeared. It was the photo Barbara had sent me, the banner on the porch. Thank you, Olivia, for everything. The room was dark, filled with applause. My father turned the lights back up. Thank you, thank you. He was stepping away from the lectern. This was my moment. I moved. I walked from the back of the room, my heels making a sharp, distinct click, click, click on the polished floor. Every eye was on me. My mother's eyes were wide with horror. Amelia, no, don't you dare. Sit down. I ignored her. I walked directly to the laptop connected to the projector. My dad said, Amelia, did you want to say a few words? Yes, I said. I do. I think your presentation is missing a few key data points, Dad. I pulled the silver USB drive from my purse. Amelia, don't! My mother shrieked, her voice cracking. What is this? Olivia demanded, her face a mask of irritation. Are you trying to ruin my party? I'm just adding some context, I said. I pulled the restaurant's USB stick out. I plugged in my own. The screen flickered. I clicked the file. The underscore ledger.pptx. I hit F5 to start the slideshow. The room was dead silent. The first slide came up. The ledger, click. Slide 2. The summary, $100,000. I heard someone in the crowd gasp. Click. Slide 3. The initial request. My mom's desperate text message. The $25,000 transfer confirmation. I heard my Aunt Carol whisper, What? What is that? Click. Slide 4. The graph showing 30 months of payments. Richard, what is this? An uncle asked from the front row. My father's face was the color of ash. Click. Slide 5. Scottsdale. The Facebook post next to the bank transfer. Click. Slide 6. The steak dinner. The social media post next to the text asking for utility money. Click. Slide 7. The erasure, the banner. Click. Slide 8. The complete ledger, the spreadsheet, the 31 lines of payments, the grand total. The slideshow ended. The screen went black. I turned to face the room. My voice was steady. It wasn't loud, but it cut through the silence like a scalpel. My name is Amelia Vance. For the last 2.5 years, I paid $100,000 to save the family home. I was the one who did it, not Olivia. Me. I looked at my parents. My mother was crying, but these weren't the performative tears from before. These were the real, ugly tears of public humiliation. Amelia, stop, she shrieked. You are embarrassing us. I looked right at her. I felt nothing, just that cold, clean calm. I'm not embarrassing you, Mom, I said, my voice even. I am presenting the facts. If the truth embarrasses you, that is not my problem. Olivia was staring at me, her expression a chaotic mix of confusion and fury. You paid for it? Yes, I said. I looked at my parents. They lied. They lied to you. They lied to everyone in this room. They stole my money and they stole my story, and they gave it to her because it sounded better. I was done. The truth was out. The air was clean. I walked back to the laptop. I unplugged my USB drive. I put it back in my purse. I turned and walked out of the room. I did not look back. I heard my mother scream my name, a raw, desperate sound. I just kept walking. The 2 days following the dinner were the loudest, most chaotic period of my entire life. My phone simply detonated. I had to switch it to Do Not Disturb just to think. It wasn't a normal explosion of calls and texts. It was a civil war fought over cellular networks. There were 2 distinct factions. Faction 1 was my Aunt Carol and a few of my cousins. Amelia, is this true? We are so floored. I had no idea. Your father just said, I'm so sorry, Amelia. Faction 2 was everyone else. My mother, my father, and Olivia. They left a barrage of voicemails. I listened to them once, clinically, as if gathering final data points. My mother's, through racking sobs. How could you do this? How could you do this to your own family? You, You are a monster. You've ruined us. After everything we did for you, you have destroyed this family, my father's, cold and clipped with rage. Amelia, you've made your point. You humiliated your mother in front of everyone. You humiliated your sister. I hope you're satisfied. Don't contact us. And Olivia's, which was pure, molten fury. You are certifiably insane. You are a sick, jealous, pathetic person. You ruined my night. You made me look like an idiot. I don't care about your stupid money. You are dead to me. Do you understand? Dead. I deleted the voicemails. I blocked their numbers. I blocked my aunt's number. I blocked my cousins. I blocked everyone. I just craved silence. I went to work. I led my meetings. I focused on my spreadsheets, my real spreadsheets, the ones that were clean and made sense. I ran 6 miles. I ran 7. I waited. I knew this wasn't the end. It was Sunday morning, 2 days after the party. I was in my apartment sipping my coffee, looking out at the calm water of the lake. My intercom buzzed. I glanced at the small black and white screen. It was them, Richard and Eleanor, standing on the sidewalk in front of my high-rise. They looked awful. Their eyes were puffy and red. They looked as if they hadn't slept in 2 days. They looked old. They looked small and defeated. I buzzed them in. I didn't go down to the lobby to meet them. I waited. A minute later, there was a knock at my door. A quiet, tentative knock. Not a "we are your parents" knock. A "we are ashamed" knock. I opened the door. They just stood there in the hallway. I didn't say a word. I just stepped aside. They walked into my apartment. This was my space, my home, the one I had chosen, the one I paid for. It was clean and bright and filled with morning light. They looked completely out of place in it, like 2 ghosts from a past life. My mother was clutching a wad of tissues. My father was holding his hat in his hands. They stood awkwardly in the middle of my living room, refusing to sit. "Amelia," my mother began, her voice a raw whisper. "Amelia, we are..." She started crying again, a real, quiet, exhausted cry. My father placed a hand on her shoulder. "We're sorry," he said, his own voice cracking. "We're so sorry." I just sipped my coffee. I waited. We didn't mean for it to go so far," he stammered. "We were ashamed," my mother whispered. "Ashamed to be in that position. Ashamed to need help. You were just always so capable, so quiet. It was just easy." "Easy," I repeated, my voice flat. No, she said quickly, not in a bad way. We always knew you were the strong one. And Olivia, she's not strong, Amelia, not like you. She's loud, but she's fragile. This, the truth, it would have shattered her. So you shattered me instead," I said. It wasn't a question. It was a statement of fact. My mother winced as if struck. "We didn't realize how much. We lost track," she said. "I gave you 100,000 ways to keep track," I said. They were silent. My father cleared his throat. We want to make it right." He was staring at my floor. "We spoke to a lawyer. After everything. We're going to add your name to the deed of the house. We'll have it legally drawn up. The house? It's yours too. Half of it is yours." "More than half," I said. "I have the spreadsheet." "Yes," he said, nodding vigorously. "Yes, of course. We'll add your name. It's the right thing to do." This was the moment. This was their checkmate. The old Amelia would have broken down. The old Amelia would have said thank you. The old Amelia would have hugged them, and the cycle would continue. I set my coffee mug down on the counter. I looked at my father. I looked at my mother. I shook my head slowly. "No," I said. My mother looked up, her eyes wide with confusion. "No? What do you mean, no? I don't want it. But it's your house. my dad said, baffled. No, I said again. I gestured around my own apartment. At the window, the light, the view of the lake. I already have a home. They couldn't comprehend it. I had to spell it out for them in the simplest terms. That house. The one you live in. I don't want it. I don't want my name on any document associated with it. I don't want to be tied to it in any way ever again. That house isn't a home to me. It's a spreadsheet. It's a transaction record. It's a record of every single time you chose her over me. It is a building that I paid for. But it is not my home. They just stared at me. They had come here to offer me the one thing they thought would fix this. The one thing they thought I wanted. And I had just refused it. They had no more moves left. They had no more cards to play. They stood there in total silence. For the first time in my entire life, they had absolutely nothing to say. And for the first time in my entire life, they were forced to listen. They just stood there, beaten. Finally, my mother whispered, What now, Amelia? What are we supposed to do?" I picked up my coffee mug. I glanced at my running shoes by the door. "I don't know what you do," I said, "but I'm going for a run." I walked to the door and opened it for them. They understood. They walked out slowly like sleepwalkers. I closed the door. I bolted the lock. I stood in my quiet, sunlit apartment, and I did not cry. That night, I sat out on my small balcony. I had a glass of wine in my hand, a good one, a Pinot Noir from Oregon. I had bought it just because I felt like it. The Chicago skyline was a glittering carpet spread out before me. Thousands and thousands of tiny lights, each one a window, each one a life, a person. I was one of those lights now. I wasn't Olivia's sister. I wasn't Richard and Eleanor's daughter. I was just a light. I was Amelia Vance. I lived on the 15th floor. I was a team lead. I was a runner. I was a maker of lopsided pottery. I thought about the word forgiveness. It's a complicated word. My mother would want it. She would probably call me in a year or 5 and ask for it. "Amelia, I just want you to forgive me," but I didn't know how. Forgiveness isn't amnesia. I would never forget. The USB drive was still in my desk drawer. Forgiveness isn't absolution. It wasn't okay. It would never be okay. Maybe forgiveness was just closing the ledger. Maybe it was a conscious decision. I am no longer allowing this to be a liability on my balance sheet. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't sad. I was just done. I was writing off the $100,000 as bad debt, a failed investment. I was writing them off too. I thought about my parents. They had lost everything. They had lost their perfect daughter, Olivia, because now Olivia knew. She knew she had been a character in their play. She knew her heroism was a lie they had invented. Her rage was the rage of a sun that had just discovered it wasn't the center of the solar system after all. They had lost me, the quiet one, the strong one, the foundation. And I knew with the certainty of a calculated risk that without its foundation, the house was going to collapse. I almost felt a flicker of pity for them. I looked at the city lights. They looked like a perfectly balanced spreadsheet. For so long, my life had been unbalanced. I had been a perpetual debit, a constant, draining, negative number. All my effort, all my energy, all my love was just an arrow pointing out. $100,000, 2.5 years of my life, a sister I would never truly have, parents I could never trust. It was a staggering loss. But now, I looked at the other side of the ledger, a new job, a new city, a new home that was all mine, self-respect, a future, the truth. My own name, my life, my personal balance sheet was finally in the black. I was no longer a debit, I was a credit. I was whole. I took a sip of wine. The air was cool and clean. I thought about the word silence. I had been silent for so many years, silent at the dinner table, silent when they asked for money, silent when they praised her. I used to think that silence was weakness. I thought it was me failing to speak up, but it wasn't. Silence isn't weakness, I whispered, my voice small against the vastness of the city. It's just observation, it's gathering the data. I thought about walking away from the dinner table, walking away from Denver, walking away from that party, walking away from them in my living room. They had always taught me that family is everything, that you never walk away. They taught me that walking away was a form of losing, that it was selfish. I looked out at the water, at the lights, at the life I had built for myself. And walking away isn't losing, I said. I smiled, a small, private smile. But it was real. It's how you win.